So this video was suggested by a fellow content creator and a very good friend, Rahul Gupta. While I was chatting with him about his internship and asked him about if he wants us to create a specific video regarding that or something related to that, and he suggested, why don't you make a specific video talking about long-term approach versus short-term approach for international students. As his observation and my observation, many students do focus a lot on the short-term goals and short-term benefits rather than long-term career goals. So in this video, based on my own experiences and the experiences of many other international students that I've spoken to personally or have observed, we'll give you some ideas on how to approach your career in Australia in the long run, not just focusing on the short term. And we'll get Rahul to speak about his experiences in the video as well. So stick around till the end to know more about it. By the way, before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so, as many of our viewers watching the videos, they usually tend to watch it multiple times, but they're not subscribing to the channel. So I would really appreciate if you can hit the subscribe button so you can get updates like this and others if you are an international student. Now, without wasting much time, let's get into the topic. The first important thing we are going to discuss about is money. I'm gonna say a bit of cliche here, which is money isn't everything, which in a short term is so true for international students. What tends to happen is when you come here to a new country, you get a new job and you start earning some money and it feels really good. Tell me about it, because I have been through myself as well. I remember my first salary that I got here in Australia. It was an amazing experience, isn't it? But that casual or part-time job that we have got here is only a little carrot dangle in front of us. And many international students, and personally speaking, I was tempted to do that as well, start chasing cash and part-time jobs rather than focusing on their studies and working for their career in the long run. First thing to keep in mind is why we came here. Now, primary aim for many international students moving abroad is to study and gain the educational qualifications, and obviously those qualifications can help us to get better jobs in our career. But in reality, some students decide to work on these casual and part-time jobs, and these are the students who tend to change their courses to other short courses, and they find it very difficult to go back to their original courses, as it could impact their visa as well. So it becomes quite tricky situation. Now, I'm not saying that money isn't important. We need it to survive and pay our bills, but sacrificing your career in the long run is not a good option at all. See, one of the things I learned from my own experience as well is that I was probably one of those persons who actually did not change course. Many of my friends who came along with me end up changing their courses. Some of them went into hospitality, others went into aged care, some went into childcare, and so on. And as I said earlier, I was tempted to do the same as well. Then I had a discussion with my parents regarding that as well, and they were like, why you came to Australia in the first place? What was your motive? And that was about studying and getting a qualification. And then they said, yes, we are happy to help and support you. Please make sure that you achieve the goal that you came here for. So I don't come from a very rich or wealthy background. My parents actually took a big loan to send me overseas for studies here, and this is something you have to also decide, and your parents as well, whether it is worth taking a study loan rather than putting pressure on yourself to work as much as you can to pay your school fee. And I understand again that some of you may not be in that sort of a situation, but if you can afford to come to Australia, and if you can afford to take some of these options where you don't have to over struggle and overwork yourself, that can be a good alternative. So think about how it could impact your career in the long run. For me, it was like an investment. Basically, my parents helped me to take out a loan, and that turned out to be a decent investment. Again, many people approach it differently, but in my suggestion, it will be good for you to think in a long career rather than focusing on making some quick bucks while you are studying. Now, another point that I want to discuss is regarding internships. Internship versus casual work. Now, chances are that if you are going to study in Australia for a while, whether you're doing bachelor's or master's, you are going to get some summer vacation, which are usually 3 to 4 months of a break time. And a lot of international students look forward to it because they can work full-time during those vacations. Again, while you could be working full-time in hospitality, retail, or any other sort of part-time job, I would highly recommend you to look for internships during this time. Don't waste those 3-4 months doing just part-time work. Try your best to get into some sort of an internship over the holiday period. This can be really handy for your career in the long run, because at the end of the day, when the recruiter is gonna look at your resume, one of the most important thing will be your work experience that you have done. So if you have already got some experience in your own industry of your study, that is certainly a gold, as it shows to the recruiters that you were proactive even during your study period, and you are one of that person who really want to get job in the industry. Now you might be wondering how to get internship in Australia. For that, we got a special guest on our channel. As I mentioned earlier, Rahul is going to explain about his experience on how he got his internship here in Australia. So let's pass on the mic to him and come back to it afterwards.
Hey everyone, my name is Rahul Gupta and I'm originally from India. I recently graduated with a bachelor's in IT, majoring in networks and security from Griffith University Gold Coast campus. I want to share my journey on how I got an internship in Australia and how you can get the same. Internships are available all year round, but the best time to apply is from September onwards, as more positions are open between November and February. Many companies start recruiting months in advance, so you should be checking and applying regularly. Personally, I started for applying for jobs and internships every day from July during my final semester. I wanted to make sure that I get a job before I graduate. I heard back from some companies, but they were looking for full-time employees. That's why internships are the best bet for anyone in a similar situation, especially international students looking to break into the industry. A key to success is a strong resume, positive mindset, and consistency without getting discouraged. There is always someone out there looking for a candidate like you. I applied for an infrastructure delivery intern at Sunshine Coast Council and got selected. The application involved submitting my resume and later an interview. Internship interviews are usually not very technical. They are more focused on your teamwork skills, problem solving skills, and why you are interested in their company. So work on your communication skills and practice answering common behavioral questions. And a big tip, always reach out to recruiters, HR, or any contact person listed in the job posting. It shows them that you are serious about the role. If you are not hearing back from them, follow up and do cold emailing. It works. Last but not the least, improve your communication skills by talking to more locals. Learn how they talk, their work culture, and adapt accordingly. It makes a huge difference in the interviews. So that was my internship experience. If you want to connect with me, feel free to message me or add me on my LinkedIn or Instagram. The links will be in the description. Cheers, guys.
Well, that was great. Hopefully you find it useful. Moving on to our next part, which is volunteering. Volunteering is basically spending some of your time in helping the community. Now, there are many volunteering opportunities available around in Australia. If you're not sure, you can just look up on a website like Go Volunteering or Seek Volunteer to find these opportunities. But as I said, you will be able to find volunteering opportunities across Australia without much problem. Many charity organizations look for volunteers throughout the year. Now, you are doing two things at the same time when you're doing volunteering. First one, you are going to get a good karma for helping other people out. And the second one is you are going to build your network with the like-minded people who are also there to help other community members. And you wouldn't believe how much Australian employers actually value the volunteer work that you have done in your life here. And it can certainly help to improve your communication skills, as you will be working with people from all different backgrounds while volunteering. So it's a win-win thing, and I highly recommend you to not underestimate the power of volunteering as an international student. I have seen examples of many international students who have gone and become very successful in their life because of volunteering. Now, the next part is regarding the job market reality. I don't want to sugarcoat things here, but unfortunately, many education agents, when you speak to them, they will tell that after completing your graduation or degree, you could end up getting a package of this amount, and it's pretty straightforward to get jobs after completing your studies. The reality is quite different though, as I'm not an education agent, so I can tell you how it works actually after completing your graduation. Many international students struggle to get jobs in their industry after completing their course. And it's not just international students, but local students also sometimes find it difficult to get jobs in their field after completing their studies. So don't think only that you are getting discriminated because you are international student, but the reality is many international students struggle to get jobs in their field after completing their study is because while they're studying, they don't take much initiative or become proactive in looking for jobs in their own field. And it's not just about applying online. Some students might say, hey, I have applied hundreds of jobs online, but I'm not getting any response. It is not generally the right approach, by the way, because you don't have much experience. So the approach you should be taking instead would be to make and build your network, and that eventually can help you to land a job. If you haven't watched it, we've got a podcast with Vaibhav that we did few months back. And at that moment, Vaibhav was also looking for a job in his own field. And I'm really glad to tell you that he finally has made it, and he's finally got a job in his own field. And kudos to him for doing that, because he was very persistent in getting a job in his field. And in that video, we talk about the power of networking, how important it is for international students to build their network. And that brings me to the next point, which is learn how to build your network. See, you don't have any family members, your parents over here who can help you to get a job. So you have to do the hard work yourself. It will be important for you to understand how to network here in Australia. And for that, you can get started with online platforms like LinkedIn. Make sure to have a solid LinkedIn profile, not only after completing your studies, but while you're studying as well. Reach out to the people who are in your own industry. See if you can connect with them and try to engage with them through private messages if you can. Invite them for a cup of coffee and ask if they can give you any suggestions regarding your career, especially if they are in the same industry, and if they have got lots of experience, they might end up saying yes. Again, not everyone will say yes to that, but hey, it's worth trying. Other thing you can do to build your network is attending regular career events, exhibitions, seminars, webinars, and some industry events happening around in your industry. You can find more information regarding these sort of events through your university, or there are some specific platforms like Meetup or Eventbrite where you can find information on these events happening around your city. And try to build your network not just within your own community, but outside your community as well. As you would know that Australia is a multicultural society, so you will see people from all different parts of the world, including obviously your home country as well. But my suggestion would be to try to mingle out with people from different cultures, and obviously with locals as well, and learn about how they live their life. And that brings me to the next point, which is improving your communication skills and cultural awareness. So I'm sure most of you would be able to speak English, that's why you're watching this video, but Australian English is quite different, and we have spoken about it in the previous videos as well, that the way Australians speak their English, they tend to make everything short, what we can call it like a slang. So if you want to incorporate into the Australian culture, you need to understand this Aussie English. Obviously you can watch some local TVs, listen to local radio, but you will learn a lot when you have local friends. And Australians are usually quite open and welcoming people. At least in my experience, I've seen many of the Australians that I have met, they were quite nice and they were always there to help if something is needed. So it's important for you to understand Australian English, but apart from that, you should also learn about Australian culture, how the Australian work culture operates, what are the things you should be doing, what etiquette you should know about, and general Australian customs and cultural norms as well. We recently launched a video regarding the 10 Australian etiquettes that you need to know. So if you would like to know more about it, you can check the video linked in the description box below. The next part is about upskilling yourself. Now, university degrees are great, no doubt about it. But the university degree by themselves may not be sufficient, because imagine that hundreds and thousands of students are doing same sort of a degree. So why would anyone choose you over the other person? Well, that's where upskilling comes in. Upskilling basically means improving your skills, and you can do that by taking some short courses or learnings that can help you to improve your skills in your specific industry. Now, we have talked about short courses like RSA, RSG in our previous videos. And I'm not talking about those courses here. I'm talking about short courses or trainings that can help in your career. For example, if you're studying accounting, try to find out which sort of softwares are relevant these days in the accounting industry. For example, Myob, Xero, or some other accounting softwares that might be popular in the industry. So you should try your best to learn those outside the university curriculum. And if you're studying IT, you can do some certifications from Microsoft, Amazon, Azure, and some other operators. And if you're doing engineering or some other courses, then you can look upon some other short courses or trainings you can do while studying or after completing your course as well. Now, just keep in mind that some of these trainings could be free, while others you may have to pay for it. And if you just want to get started, YouTube can be a great source for learning some of these things as well. So no excuses for learning at least. Of course, if you need certifications, you may have to pay money, to get those certifications. But just remember that it's more like an investment. If you invest more in yourself, the chances are that you could recoup these investments later on in your career. So that was that. I hope you find this information useful. Again, if you have any specific questions, I'll be happy to take them on in the comment section below. And if you have any suggestions for us to make a video on certain topics, you can let us know again by commenting down below. And if you want to feature in our videos, please let us know about that also in the comment section below. Now, as mentioned earlier, it's very important for international students to learn about basic Australian etiquette. And we have got 10 of them covered in our recent video. So I suggest you to click this video over here where I explain in detail about these 10 etiquettes. So click the video over there and I'll see you in that video.